All right,
It's
we're here.
it so far it's just Colin and me today. Simon bowed out. He is tired.
My little kitty.
Oh, your little oh, does she want to go out?
Yeah, but mom is making fish for dinner, and the cat won't leave her alone. So when she's done making fish, I'll let the cat out.
Oh, I hope she's going to get some treats.
Yeah, she's well, or he's well fed. He's
Oh,
well.
okay. I don't know why. Most of the time when
Gimli.
I see a cat, I assume it's a girl for whatever
Yeah,
reason.
it's Gimli. We have Gimli and Gandalf.
Gimli and Gandalf. Oh, I love those names.
Yeah, we've gone through
Hey,
almost the
Corey.
whole fellowship. We've had everyone except for Frodo and Boromir.
And when are they going to become a thing?
Who knows? If we get our next pets are going to probably be Frodo. Our next pet.
Frodo. Okay,
Yeah.
that's funny. All right. Well, it's been a bit since you've joined us, Colin.
Yeah, I've missed it, but I haven't had much. Honestly, I haven't. The older I get, the less like I feel like I've said so much I've had to say about movies on this stream already that I feel like I'm running out of original things to say. My own opinions I'm running out of on movies. So I'll keep talking about movies if you guys like to have me, because I still.
Of course. I mean, that's why I invite you all the time. I mean,
Yeah.
I see a lot of the same things again and again. It's just going to happen when you're talking about films, especially if you end up talking about the same film multiple times.
Yeah.
But it's all good. Each theme is different, and I know you didn't feel like you were. You weren't really in touch with the negativity of the last couple streams, which were like movies we hate or actors we hate.
Yeah. Well,
So,
also, I mean, I genuinely don't have. It would have been really forced for me to come up with a
to come
list.
up with stuff.
I just don't think. I mostly don't think of it that much. Though I don't know. I guess I don't know. If something crossed my mind, I might think. But I was trying to think of stuff and I couldn't think of any.
Trying to think of movies that you hate that most people love. Like you don't have anything like that?
Well,
Like
the only
nothing?
one, the obvious one was like the new Star Wars movies, but I feel like people don't really love those the way that I don't know.
Yeah.
And yeah, I feel like I don't really hate a lot of movies. I feel like if I do hate a movie or, even really dislike a movie, it's probably not really loved. And I'm pretty good. The older I get, the better I am at just avoiding stuff.
Yeah.
That, I can just tell off the bat. I just don't watch a lot of movies really. As I get older, I feel like I don't really hate stuff as much. And actors, I mean, I get it. There's actors who annoy me, but I couldn't think of any that
You could have joined us there. You didn't have to go as heavy as hate. I mean, I just kind of used that because that was the title.
I know. I mean, I could have tried. I just didn't want to because it felt like it did feel forced for me.
It's okay. It's all good. I'm just giving you a hard time because you skipped out on the past couple months.
I know. I always plan to be back.
I got this message from someone, asking when was Colin going to be back.
I'm back. I'll be back.
You're back. You're back. Putin's cat. I honestly don't remember it. If he was mentioned, I maybe in comments. I didn't mention him myself. He wasn't one that I mentioned, but I don't know about any of the other participants. Not sure about that. But the theme for today, which the audience voted on overwhelmingly, was basically the title was Movies We Love. And then the further explanation was like movies that we love that most people or a lot of other people seem to hate, or movies that we feel are kind of underrated. Either way, because it's kind of like a broad category.
Yeah.
So you could, so my list, and I came up with several when it looked like Simon wasn't going to be able to join, and then D, indicated that he probably wouldn't be able to join. I came up with a whole. You're kidding. Poor thing. Oh, sounds so sad.
Yeah, he's fine. He's putting up a big show. If we let him out, he'll be on the kitchen counter trying to eat that fish.
I get it, because I know that's how cats are. You can't really control where they go.
Well, he's still a kitten. He's less than a year old.
Oh, he's a baby still.
He still hasn't learned his manners about when mom's cooking. She gets real annoyed. And so if I'm out there, I might, distract him. But if I'm not, she can't. She gets annoyed at him. So she's like, he's got to go in your room till I'm done.
I totally get that. That's actually one of the reasons I never really want. Like my daughter wants to have a cat. I don't want to have a cat because number one, we have 3 dogs, and the problem with cats is that you literally cannot control where they go.
Yeah.
And I don't want them walking on the table or the or the kitchen counters or anything like that. So it's like, no, that's okay.
You can't stop it. They will do it every night.
Yes, they will do whatever the heck they want to.
Mm-hmm.
2 movies that not a lot of people seem to see: 1941 and the Pirate movie. I have never heard of that.
I don't think I've heard of either of those.
Mm-mm.
Hey, come here.
Me either.
Come here.
Oh yeah, it's okay. I did it twice. I thought maybe it was 2 separate comments. Well, I had kind of indicated we could do maybe like 3 to 5, but like I said, when I found out that it didn't look like Simon was going to be here, I came up with a list of 11. You don't have to have 11. I just you know how I did it, because I felt like it was going to be hard to come up with this list. I just went to my Letterboxd and I looked at several pages of films that I had rated, and I had them sorted by the rating on Letterboxd. And so I just would look and I would see if I 3.5 or 4 starred up a movie that didn't get a high score on Letterboxd, that was one I picked.
That's a good way to do it. Yeah.
It was the only way. I mean, there were some that came immediately to mind. And not all of these films are super obscure. Only maybe just like 2 or 3 are obscure films that maybe not a lot of people have heard of, but a lot of them are bigger name films that were, I don't know, a little divisive in some ways with the audience, but they worked for me.
All right.
I'm going to pretend this is one of those best of, well, the years are all over the place. So do you remember how to share a screen, Colin?
Yes.
Do you want to go first since it's been a bit?
Sure. I picked out like four, maybe I could do maybe 5, but let me get the thing going here. They're not probably, I would say they're just less popular. I realize probably 2 or 3 of them are foreign movies, and so it's not that they're underrated per se. Maybe they're less known.
I feel like that kind of still falls under underrated, especially if you're talking about the market here, because a lot of the movie going market here is not really into foreign language films for the most part.
And I just thought, well, if anything, if you or anyone listening wants to check out something maybe they haven't seen, that movies that I think are great movies that I just feel like aren't well known.
Yeah, sounds good. That was the whole point of it.
Cool. So let me pull up the first one. I'll wait a little bit for this one. That was my first thought.
Okay. Yeah, I know. I don't know the order that I want to go in for mine. Look at that paw. His paw.
Wait.
He had it. Your cat had his paw like right up.
Yes.
He's like
super cute. Yeah, he's in my lap. He's purring in my lap. He's spoiled kitty.
He's happy now. Okay. Yeah. Maybe he's forgotten about the fish.
Yeah. Oh, wait. I remember I did this thing where you go to IMDb and that has like the movie poster picture.
Yeah, that's how you can. I ended up just downloading the posters myself and just putting them on my laptop. But you can just go open up the poster and then I guess share your screen.
Okay.
Or tab, maybe a tab.
Yeah, it's loading. It's just going. It's like stuttering. There we go. Come on. Okay. Now I will go to this. Present.
Yes.
Present.
And there's like different tabs that you can choose from in there.
Share screen.
If you see it, if you don't, check like one of the other tabs.
I got it.
You found it? Nice. Okay. Oh, this one. Yes, you've talked about this one.
I know. I don't have a whole lot of new opinions. That's why I was like, oh man, I'll keep doing it. No,
it's okay. It's all right. It's perfectly fine. It's just I am curious to find out if whichever ones you you share are ones that I've even heard of before. So
probably, though I don't know if you remember them all. So that's why I'm like my most favorites. I'll bring up a few times just for you or anyone else is like, this is really, you got to see this one. But it's also like, well, if you don't like martial arts, you might not like it. But
yeah, it doesn't work for everybody.
I think it's like probably my favorite martial arts movie, or it's at least tied with Enter the Dragon, the classic Bruce Lee movie, which is like probably the best. But this movie it was so exciting to me when it came out in like 2004, and that was like pretty much pre-internet for me.
20 years.
I saw a preview of it on like commercial for it on TV, and then it was like on a DVD. It was already not, and didn't come in theaters that I saw. So I went and I bought it, and well, the first responding to the comment, the first Ong Bak movie is really the only amazing one. The 2 and 3 have some amazing fighting, but they have a lot of kind of boring plot. The first one.
So the plot of this is
the plot of this is real simple, but it's real fast paced and there's tons of action. That's why Ong Bak is so cool. The plot of it's so basic, and I think it's Rotten Tomatoes is like, it's rotten, I think, but it's like because of the plot of it is just like so simple. But like Tony Jaa is so special. I really think outside of Bruce Lee, he's the most like best martial artist I've seen on the screen in terms of like, how did he do that? Like, they don't use any special effects or wires or anything, and he does all his own stunts, and his capability of jumping and doing like some cool kind of dangerous stuff, but also just really amazing athleticism that's not even always about kicking and punching. Just like he can do some really cool moves, and his fighting is great, and it's just like a classic movie. And yeah, when I saw it, that was before Muay Thai, or maybe as Muay Thai. Yeah, Jackie Chan from the 80s is also very special.
Yeah, agreed.
I mean, Jackie Chan, this is almost like better than every Jackie Chan movie in some ways for me because of the fighting. He doesn't do as gnarly stunts as Jackie Chan did, which is undeniable. But like, Jackie Chan made a bunch of those awesome movies. I feel like Tony Jaa made Ong Bak, and then the follow-up, The Protector, which is also amazing, and then he kind of fell off. So he didn't have the longevity of awesomeness. But this was his first movie, and he was at his best form, and it really is. It's so cool to watch. Maybe as part of it was at that age, but also, yeah, Muay Thai in 2004, I think it was just starting to be big here, and I didn't really know about it. This was the first time I saw a guy fight with like knees and elbows, and so it really was impressive to me in that way too, because he was like, I hadn't really seen Muay Thai before, and he's really good at it, at least on the screen. I mean, he legitimately is from Thailand and trained in Muay Thai growing up, and like he's a legitimately really badass dude. And this movie shows it off. So this is like, yeah, if you like action and martial arts, I feel like this is the biggest recommendation I would give to someone.
So how does it compare to The Raid? Because that's probably one, like the closest type of film like this that I've seen, where it's just almost nonstop choreographed fighting and just insane action.
One of the Raid movies recently. I think I rewatched the first one, but it might have been the sequel. I think maybe it was a sequel. Yeah, Ong Bak, it's badass. How does it compare though? I feel like the problem with The Raid to me is a lot of it's almost too fast, or a lot of the action seems more choreographed. Like when they're fighting,
it seems obviously choreographed.
It feels a little bit over the top, or a little bit, I don't know how to say it, like a little bit too fast with the cutting. Like I'm not good enough at describing it at all. Like there's good action in The Raid, but I think Ong Bak is more like, it's just kind of sits back and you watch Tony Jaa do these amazing things. And it doesn't need to like cut around and move as much. Like, I think that's what it is. I think the editing and all those action movies, they go so fast, and the movement is so fast sometimes with like and it feels a little unnatural, and it feels like you know, I don't know if it's like it looks faster and cooler than it actually looks impressively athletic. You know, if that makes sense. And Tony Jaa just does stuff that most people can't do. Like you have to see it to understand. But he's just, as well as being a good fighter. Like the opening scene is really cool. He's from this tiny little village in Thailand in the movie, and the opening scene is like, I don't know if it's a real life thing they do, but all the villagers like climb this big old tree with these long branches, and it's like the first to get to the highest branch and get the flag win, and they're all like pulling each other down and knocking each other off because the ground's kind of soft.
Yeah.
And it shows him just like jumping from branch to branch and kind of flying around this tree where you're just like, holy shit, this dude is brave and ballsy.
And no wires, you say?
No wires, no CG.
Oh.
So he has that Jackie Chan-esqueness to him. He doesn't do shit like Jackie where it's like out of a helicopter or crazy like shit like that. But like it's just it's legitimate athleticism, kind of like how Bruce Lee had, where just the way that he's jumping, the way that he does these jumping moves and these athletic. There's a chase scene that's really cool. That it's not just, and then when he fights, it really is like some badass. Well, that's a good point too. The Muay Thai, it looks like he really is doing that shit. I don't know. I've watched a lot of the good action movies. I've seen The Raid and a lot of big action movies, and Ong Bak is one of the most impressive ones. All because of Tony Jaa, because it's real. He just has this athleticism that you rarely see, and I don't think he kept it up, or he just didn't get the roles to keep showing it off. Because it was this movie and then the follow-up, which is not Ong Bak 2, that was just a little bit later, are the only ones that are really like. The follow-up to this has like the greatest shot. It's like a 7-minute long, maybe 5-minute long shot with no cutting, and he's just fighting the whole time.
Oh,
ridiculous.
I bet that was a challenge to film. Oh, we have a guest. I'm going to remove your thing, and there is D. Hey, D.
Hey, what's going on?
How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. How are you? How you guys?
Good.
I'm glad you can make it. It was just me sitting here, and I was like, "Oh man."
Yeah, he was like, "Should we just not do it?" And I was like, "Well, I was prepared to just do it solo. You know, I had picked 11 films for goodness sakes."
Right.
So I was ready. He just shared his.
Our first
Ong Bak.
Oh, okay. Ong Bak. I remember Ong Bak. I never got to see it, but I remember that trailer. I remember being really excited to see it when the trailer popped up in theaters.
Yeah. It got me to go buy the movie just from the trailer, and it was one of the best purchases of a movie unseen ever.
One of the times where a trailer actually works, huh?
Yeah.
Because I have so many complaints. I know, right?
What can I say, Mike? I'm everywhere. You never know where I'm gonna pop up.
Jay has been so busy doing all sorts of live streams, and he didn't think he was going to be able to make it because he is like feeling like he might get a little burnout if he shows up all the time. He had live streams all weekend. The one Saturday night was really fun. I'd finished work just in time, and I was like, I gotta listen to this one because it was talking about Deadpool and Wolverine and the cameos.
So, I loved it.
Definitely. And I'm not used. Which I mean, that's besides the point.
Wait.
I really am not. Oh, what were you gonna say, Colin?
I was just actually. I don't know if you guys are probably better. I almost said some spoilers, and then I thought, okay, wait, no spoilers, because I was all trying to avoid Deadpool spoilers till today. And then I almost just started talking.
You almost just said something.
So I was like, okay, maybe I won't.
I've done multiple spoiler. I've done at least 2 live streams that dealt with just nothing but spoiler talk about it. But and of course D's did because it was all about the cameos. So
right. Yeah, I don't know. So I don't know. Is there a warning? Can we talk about it, or should we not?
Putin's cat says no spoilers in all caps, so he hasn't seen it. Okay.
I almost just almost did the thing where I was so trying to avoid myself, and
you almost did the Tom Holland thing.
Right.
What is that from?
And the Mark Ruffalo thing where they accidentally revealed spoilers.
Interview?
Yes, in interviews.
But no, I'm I'm not used to doing. I mean, I'm not used to hosting live streams. I'm used to being on, joining as a guest. So I was just like, all right, I got to put everything together. But I felt good about it. So I was
You
excited.
did fine. You did fine. It was a fun conversation, except when your internet crapped out on you.
Of course,
And you
because why wouldn't it?
froze, and your guest was just like not quite sure what to do. He just sat
Right.
there for a while. It was funny, but yeah, it was fun. So I look forward to seeing more live streams from you, D. The more comfortable
the pressure. I will keep that in mind.
Well, like you said, it's kind of a good way to, if you don't really have the time to sit down and film and edit, it's a
Right.
good way to just get out there and talk anyway with people, get your thoughts out there.
Definitely.
So, do you have something to add to the list?
Yes.
Okay.
Let's see. And I heard you because I pulled my phone up so I could hear a little bit before I popped in. But you had mentioned pulling up the poster.
Yeah, I had saved the posters to my computer. What Colin did was he just pulled up a picture from of the poster from IMDb.
Okay, cool. Okay, so I'm going to share. Hey, Drew.
All right.
Hey.
Oh my gosh. All these comments I cannot. Let's see. Share screen.
You're too Hollywood for live stream now.
If only. All right. A classic.
Oh my gosh.
Oh wow.
So
okay.
This is a universally reviled film.
Yes.
For reasons that are well known, fully understood. I totally get it. But it's one of those things where, because I was so young, the first time it was one of those Christmas, like literally, it was like, got the movie for Christmas, got the Batmobile that was on the ice at the end of the film.
Yeah.
So it was always just kind of like this, it was a different kind of experience. Now, if I had seen it at a certain age, and especially, I don't know, I just think, like, let's just say this were to come out now, or if I was like in high school and this would come out, I probably would have been like, But, and although it is an undeniably ridiculously bad movie, especially by Batman standards, there is something about it that is so like undeniably like 99, 97 about it, so late 90s, so weird and colorful and cartoonish that to me, it almost becomes this weird, it almost exists in this weird camp alternate universe. And from that standpoint, I actually think it's really funny. Like I said, not good anyway. Whatever, Mike. But yeah, like I said, art, there's no debating that it's not good, but it's one of those that I find is very, very entertaining to watch for me.
I had a soft spot for it because I was same thing. I think I was 11 and I didn't have any critical like view of films. And I just remember you remember I don't know, McDonald's or something had like the cups with each different character.
Yeah.
And you would just, there was all this anticipation, like you'd see the trailer and you'd be like, oh man, they're gonna have all these characters, and like you'd get all excited for it. And then the movie itself, like I didn't know that it was so bad. I was like, yeah, it's got Batman and Iceman and Mr. Freeze, and I enjoyed it. And so yeah, I was there at the right age to enjoy it as well.
That's the thing about when you're younger, you can enjoy certain things that when you're older, you just, so like, it's funny because Artur and I have had this conversation. He said, well, when I was younger and watching something, I couldn't really, it just looked fine to me. But now I see it again. It's like, oh yeah, now I see what you're talking about how bad something is, So it's kind of
it's almost like I see tropes coming now. It's like I get that where like something will happen in the story, and now I'm like, oh, so this character is going to do either this or this, which will affect the plot in 1 or 2. And as a kid, you're like, oh, whoa, you have no idea. It's like now you're just it's like, yes, I've seen this 100 times. It's going to be this or this. Like, it's totally different when you're a kid or young or whatever. You're into the movie and the illusion.
Yeah. So, and then I think, saying, given our conversation about Arnold and, you know, watching the documentary and all that, this also is another film that leans into my appreciation of him as a kid, basically, and not having, and that being my introduction to him. So, like with this, Jingle All the Way, and you know, like those films, which were both, well, for me, they were both Christmas film experiences. So,
it's funny that your first exposure to him was through comedy type kidsy sort of movies,
which is crazy because that is not how he started at all.
No, it's not.
What's weird, it's a trajectory. Other like people, a lot of people almost like they make it, if for young adults or the adult crowd like them, and then they're making like, I mean, okay, like Arnold did it, but who like. I feel we're just thinking about the 90s because I had that same with Arnold. I was too young when T2 came out, so I knew him from like these type of things and Kindergarten Cop and then it's like Robin Williams. Like I didn't know for so long like he made his name as being like a dirty, crazy, maybe not dirty, but you know like cursing and like a stand-up comedian for adults basically, and then a serious actor, and then he was doing all these kids movies, and it's so that's what I thought of him as. And like, man, even maybe I'm getting off topic now where it's almost like I was thinking how a lot of really funny comedians, they start off really funny and then they start getting roles where there's for some reason, the straight man in a comedy. Like, I don't know. That's off topic. All right. Sorry. That's off topic.
I was trying to follow the thread, Colin.
I know. I'm spit smoking.
Okay. All right. I'll go ahead and share mine. Hold on.
Oh, let me stop mine.
Oh yeah, I was thinking. Okay, yeah. I'm always afraid to, like, Collins is still up. I'm afraid to like kick it or ban it, and if that's going to affect him somehow being able to share again. Anyway, whatever. So I just leave it be. Okay. So this next one was one of the first ones that came to mind when I was thinking of the list. Not the first one, but one of the very first ones. And D, you're not going to be surprised at all about this particular one because we've talked about it multiple times. And I know you share some of the same sentiments as I do about it. This movie, while I can fully recognize that it is not the level, the quality that the first Wonder Woman was, I still have a very soft spot in my heart for this film because it touched all the right emotional beats for me. This film actually made me cry every time I see that scene where she has to give every single freaking time.
I renounce my wish.
Oh my gosh, as she's running, oh my goodness. And as she's crying, and then all her wounds are healing, and she goes up in the sky, and I can't remember if that's when Beautiful Lie plays, that Hans Zimmer song. Anyway, that was just like that one moment just sealed it for me as far as my emotional connection with this film. Story-wise, yes, I completely get that it's not maybe as strong as the first one. Not that the first one was super, super strong, but it was just so well crafted, and the characters and all the chemistry was great.
Yeah.
But this one, for you, I know for you that you really liked the mall scene stuff because it brought back all these great memories. And that as well. But I just loved watching Gal in this role. I mean, I just could watch her all day long playing Wonder Woman. And I like the chemistry she had with Kristen Bell. But not Bell. Wiig.
Kristen Wiig, yeah.
Kristen Wiig. Yeah, oh my gosh. Lord.
I do that same thing. I don't know why I always think it's Kristen Wiig.
Yeah, Kristen Wiig. At Pedro Pascal, as much as he's kind of wearing thin on me these days, I thought he did a really good job in the role, and I thought he played the part. Like, I felt sorry for him. He's this villain, but I still found this connection of humanity with him, and especially that end scene, where he's looking for his son, and I don't know, just I thought it was really good. I remember, like I've mentioned before, my husband and I were leaving the theater, and he said something about how, like it didn't have a lot of action because it wasn't as actiony as the first Wonder Woman, but he said he felt like he said it was pretty sad. Yeah, it was pretty sad. Goodness gracious. So I will always love this film. I know people have their gripes. I get the gripes. Some of the gripes I'm like, okay, I see where you're coming from, but honestly, when you're talking about a body swap movie,
I already knew that's what you were going to say.
Yeah, because some people were really getting on their soapbox about it. I'm like, I have never heard this complaint in a body swap movie ever.
That's what I'm
in my
saying.
whole life.
Are you guys just putting 20 on 10? Because I promise, in any other circumstance, I have never heard anyone be this upset about this particular plot.
Yeah, me either. It was like there was just this narrative that was decided about it, and that was what they were. It's just, I don't know. It just that didn't. The other complaints about it. The CGI wasn't as good as whatever. Okay, I can buy that. The story maybe not as super compelling, but that particular one is like, I mean, it's. I don't know about this one. Anyway, so yeah, love Wonder Woman 1984.
Also, because honestly, and granted, we've kind of commented on the flaws. I would say probably the one of the bigger issues for me was simply that Pedro Pascal and then Kristen Wiig didn't both need to be in this film. I feel like this was focused.
I feel like it was a little bit.
And I understand, given the trajectory, there wouldn't have been a third film, but I just think they both deserve to have an entire arc on their own. And I feel like because it was the both of them, they both kind of got squeezed a little bit into
a little bit. Yeah, I can see that. I think Putin's cat makes a really good point here. That scene with Pedro looking for his son, and when he finds his son, that got me a little bit teary-eyed as well. He said Wonder Woman used her best weapon at the end, her brain. Many people didn't get it. So Wonder Woman 84, Patty Jenkins had more control over what happened. She didn't want to have this big, huge fight at the end of the first one, and the studio was like, no, we're doing, and I agree. I felt like that was a good decision. When I watched this the first time, I really didn't have an issue with how things went down. I mean, what do you want? You want her to kill the guy? I mean, what, especially if he has the power to undo everything, and he did.
Right.
Why kill him? He didn't reach that level for me. So I felt like it flowed pretty naturally and organically, and I went with it. She tried to reach out to the humanity of everybody that had fallen into this trap. She used her mind, like Putin's cat said, and that was how she managed to win that battle. She had to have this big fight with Cheetah. So, this fight did happen, but with defeating the big bad, you don't always have to have a knockdown drag out in order to, win the day. So I was fine with it. I was okay with it.
Same. And I think and of course we've talked about why, but I think it came along at the right time. It was just a film, I think, and of course with everything going on, it was just nice to appreciate a film that also in its own way was kind of like reaching back to a simpler time. It was just like, okay, it's good to just kind of feel these things, feel some of these emotions, but also enjoy the quirkiness and the nostalgia and all that. So on that level, it definitely was effective for me.
Yeah. Yeah, it's it's unfortunate and didn't go over as well or whatever, didn't make as much. That was at the time where they were still putting 2 seats distance between when you would buy a seat at the movie theater. So a full movie theater was really only 25% of the movie, so it had a lot going against it, unfortunately. I think it would have done better if it hadn't been that situation.
Right.
So that's my first one. And
all right, I'm gonna hit stop sharing.
Okay.
And then hit it again.
Okay. Yeah, I guess that's what you have to do, because if I do something, it might not affect your ability to share again, but my choices are to ban you or kick, not you, but to ban the screen or kick the screen. And I'm a little afraid if I do that, it might, since it's connected with you, I don't know if it's going to kick you out. So that's why I don't mess with it.
All right, I'm going to bring up, well, and actually I thought of this after we started the stream, because I was thinking of, this is another one I think that is because I was a kid. And so I didn't understand about anything. I was 10 years old and I just loved this movie.
Okay.
And I haven't seen it for years. I almost kind of want to watch it again. Where we go here? Okay. Did it go?
There we go.
Oh, this is a good one.
Cutthroat Island. I love this.
Oh yeah, this one was definitely hated. I remember that.
Yes, it was.
Yeah. And I didn't understand why. Like, I was 10 years old, and I liked the lead character. I liked Gina Davis a lot. I love how it was all outside and just action and adventure and piratey. And I remember as a kid, like, I would get so into stuff as a kid. I remember we saw it, and then like in the morning, I was like designing a Cutthroat Island like board game for myself to play. But I couldn't stop thinking about it. You know how you get that way when you're a kid, and I was just like, I loved it so much. So again, I almost want to watch it again now, because I bet there's just stuff that's cheesy, and it was probably even cheesy then. It probably at this point is really dated, but like the action worked for me, and the thrilling, the drama. All again, it was probably like I hadn't seen all the tropes yet. Movies were still super fresh and exciting to me, and so it's funny that it's like it's another one of those where I'm stumbling. I'm too high to. But I guess it's one that there's a lot of movies that works for, but this is one. What I was trying to say, there's a lot of movies that applies to, every movie, right? It's different when you're young or old, but this is a specific one that, like, I guess was really panned. I guess it had a big budget and it got specifically hated on, I feel like, more than most movies do. So that's why what made me think of it. Because like I said, I mostly don't even really remember if movies are hated or not. But I remember this movie being like totally hated, I guess. And all I could ever think was, man, I loved it. Similar to another movie that I won't bring up, because I did bring it up, I think, on our last one, which is Waterworld. Even though I think Waterworld holds up. I rewatched it recently. I love Waterworld still to this day. So that one I really don't get. But I won't bring up Waterworld again.
I agree with you, Putin's cat. I love The Last Kiss Goodnight.
That was good.
Or was it The Long Kiss Goodnight or The Long Kiss Goodnight?
The Long Kiss Goodnight. With Samuel Jackson and Gina
Yes, I love that movie. I've always liked that movie. I've seen Cutthroat Island once. I remember not outright hating it as much as I felt like, like the critics and whoever, did. I wasn't actively on the internet too much at that time. I don't remember what year this came out. What year did this come out? 95. Okay. It was okay. Maybe if I rewatched it, I would feel differently. I have no idea.
Gina Davis is pretty great. She was a big part of it.
Slappy and the Stinkers again with this guy. Hey, Chris. Okay. All right. Okay, so it's going to be your turn now, D. And Colin said he had 4. He had come up with 4.
Okay. I might even do 5, because I added Cutthroat Island.
Oh, okay. So since we have multiple people here on the stream and it's not just me talking to myself, I won't throw up all my 11, so we could go like 4 to 5 rounds if you guys are good with that.
Okay.
So, okay. All right. So it's your turn, D.
Okay.
Oh, Colin, you might have to unshare.
There you
go. It's all good, Carl.
You missed the first 3 picks, which was, well, I guess I just finished my second pick, but what was it? Ong Bak, Batman and Robin, and
Wonder Woman 1984 and Cutthroat Island. Yep.
And then Cutthroat Island.
Okay, and so now we're coming around to D's second pick.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. So you feel like this is hated by a lot of people?
Oh, it is.
Okay.
And here's the weird.
This is considered the best movie ever.
But here's the thing, because when it first came out, it got dragged. It got criticized.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize that.
And mainly because it was made as kind of a hit piece on William Randolph Hearst, and
he didn't like that.
So and then people kind of thought, I think maybe there was some sentiments about Orson Welles and why he made it, and so there was a lot of negativity put towards it. Now, over time, as people recognize like the film techniques and all these other aspects of the story, people have come to appreciate it. However, I find that it's one of those things where there are a lot of people, I guess, within the, I don't know, whatever you would consider like the higher ups, like when it comes to film historians and when it comes to like, you know, the esteemed prolific people, as it's gained more significance there, I find that a lot of general audience people like despise it. Like almost everyone I know, like people bring it up all the time. And my first time seeing it was in a film history. I had film history class I had back in college, and I'd always heard about it, but I'd never thought it would be something I would be interested in. So I watched it and actually ended up really, really enjoying it. And not just because of how well it's made, because there definitely, when it comes to the techniques and the passage of time and certain things they do to kind of create the world, Kane's world and the wealth and the excess and all those things. But I did appreciate like its emotional core and what the story was really saying about this man who spent his life chasing something that he could never really attain. And we get into the film and you understand what that is. And for me, that just hit a certain way. For some people, they can dismiss those things. And it's so funny, I kid you not, because I was already planning to mention this once I realized I was going to pop on. Yeah. But in the same way that some people might look at the scene from Wonder Woman 84 and think, oh, that's cheesy or that's corny, whatever, and they can kind of dismiss it. People do the same thing with that. To me, that scene with Rosebud as well. It's just kind of like, oh, well, okay, what's the big deal? And to me, I feel like some things hit you one way, some things don't.
Right.
Hit you one way.
Yeah.
And for me, I just felt it was like, man, to see someone's entire, I don't know. I just thought it was such a very poignant and significant message. And I just figured out of everything I might have expected from this film, I didn't think it would have that to say. And so I think just along with everything, cool. I think it stands out. But yeah, but I find that it really is one that, yes, it's considered the best, the best of it, but then you have that earlier perception of it. And then you also still have the audience perception where it's just like, this movie is old and long and boring and blah, so that's
fair. Yeah.
Well,
that's a good point.
I've seen it once. And a long time ago, and it might have been back in the day when we rented films from the library and watched them on our living room wall. It's been quite a while. I remember not being overly impressed with it. Mm-hmm. And my brother Tim, when he took some sort of film class or something, when he went a couple years at college, and they studied this film. And he was talking about how significant it was for the way it was filmed, cinematography, all these different little tricks and things that they did, and how it was pretty groundbreaking for the time. Mm-hmm. And I think he likes it quite a bit too. Now, if I rewatched it, I don't know, maybe I would feel differently. Maybe I would have more appreciation for it because I was quite young when I saw it and it just didn't really do too much for me. But that's interesting. I thought it was just universally loved because it's always so highly regarded. When you see the lists of these movies you must see before you die.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So I didn't realize those things you said about
I remember that. Yeah, because William Randolph Hearst had like a big media influence. And he was like, no, I'm not pro a movie that's against me. So he would just be like, screw this movie. And it took a little while, I guess. And I guess Orson Welles was, I don't know, not like a beloved presence. Like, I don't know he tricked everyone with the War of the Worlds. I don't know if that was before or after this, but I feel that's like, he was like that kind of dude. I think it was before. Well, no, Citizen Kane, they made Citizen Kane at like 27 years old, which is pretty impressive. I remember thinking like, God damn, like he was so young, relatively young when he made that too.
He directed that too, yeah?
Yeah, he wrote it and directed and starred.
Ah, okay.
And at like 27 years old. And so it was pretty cool. But I saw it once too, and I agree it has the whole overall point of the message of the movie, like you're talking about, is pretty powerful. Mm-hmm. And the way they do it's pretty good. But for some reason, like the one thing I always think of when I think of that movie is when he just smashes the room. When he just gets angry and just starts knocking shit over.
Mm-hmm.
I just think like, God, that's a great. I know this movie is beloved for all these other reasons, but I love that scene's part of the movie because I love that scene on like a primal level.
Right.
Like, let's just have him smash shit. It's like in the greatest movie ever.
There's that violence and action going on that appealed to you. You like that?
Yes.
Okay, well that's a good one. That one, I must admit, surprised me just because of what I was unaware about it. Okay, so my next one, will probably, since we're only going to do maybe like 4 or 5, I'm gonna. So I was telling Colin at the beginning that some of these films are not necessarily, you know, unknown type of films or whatever. Some of them are quite well known. That just maybe they were pretty like reception to it was pretty divided. So this might be the last of the like big blockbustery types that I pop up here for the discussion because I have so many to choose from. But yeah, this one, hold on, there we go. Yeah. This is still pretty divisive amongst the fans, you guys, but I love the heck out of this movie. I know people were upset with the presentation, let's say, of Doomsday at the end. I didn't know enough about Doomsday to care. This is why I'm glad I didn't. So because that part didn't affect me. There was one thing that I really was not crazy about when it comes to this film, and that was the choice of Eisenberg as Lex Luthor.
Right. I still don't.
I thought he was terrible. He was absolutely terrible, but fortunately, yeah, he was so annoying. I wanted to just like go away. I could not. But the other aspects to this movie make up for that for me. I like that we finally get to see this showdown between Batman and Superman, and the huge thing that made this all worthwhile for me was when Wonder Woman shows up at that last moment in that scene to save Batman from that ray that Doomsday was shooting. Holy cow, the little girl in me just screamed like I was so happy. And part of the reason why I was so happy was because I was really down on Gal Gadot and this role when she was picked. And I've mentioned this multiple times. I was just like, no. I'm just, oh my gosh. I did a complete 180. When I started seeing her as Diana, she's showing up as Diana. I was like, okay, she's pulling off Diana pretty good. You know, she's got the very mysterious, exotic sort of quality. What's going on with her? And when she popped down, had her, you know, her whatever those things are, what are they called? What are they called? On the arms.
Oh, gauntlets,
yeah. And I had forgotten that she was supposed to show up because I was so in, you know, like just paying attention to everything that's happening. And then when she shows up, it's like, oh yeah. And it shows her awesome. And the music, the theme, it's like, oh my gosh. So this movie was what convinced me that Gal was a really good pick as a Wonder Woman. And I know a lot of people hate it, but I have always liked this movie. I also, it came along in a year that was really bad for our family. We had a lot of heartbreak that year. And it just is like one of the little shining lights in my memory of 2016.
Yeah.
And yeah, I've always really liked, I like the extended version too, because that goes into more in depth as far as the stuff that's going on in the story, and you see more and understand a bit more about the plot. And so, yeah, I don't care what people say. I will always love this film, even though I know a whole bunch of people hate it.
Well, I've actually not seen it, so.
Oh, you haven't? Okay. Well, Wonder Woman making her entrance was so much fun. Like her theme song. I love her theme song.
Top tier.
That is.
Yeah, really absolutely, cool. Absolutely.
Yeah, I had a moment like that when I saw Deadpool and Wolverine today. Like the little kid in me was like, "Woo!" Like it was very exciting. Yeah.
Yeah, that opening scene, I was telling Colin before we went live, I think, or were we live? Or whatever. I was saying that opening scene, I am obsessed with that opening scene.
Yeah.
Obsessed. And I'm ready to go watch it for a third time.
Yeah.
I think the 3D really was good for that opening scene.
Oh, I can imagine.
you know, like that's when I felt it the most, which is usually the case for movies. I feel like they make sure that opening scene, if it's in 3D, it works good. Like I feel like I stopped noticing it a lot, but yeah, the first scene in 3D was really sweet.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah,
I'm sure. Yes, it absolutely was. Sometimes I go back and I just rewatch that scene.
I was gonna say I've actually repost, you know, like I'll do sometimes my clips on social media and stuff, and I've reposted that one a few times because it's just so
right. Right is oh my gosh. I've killed people from other worlds before.
Right.
You're so cool.
And he's like, "Is she with you?"
I thought she was with you.
And then they go into the whole stance.
Oh, that shot. It was like something right out of a comic book. I loved it. Right. Like that whole that she does the crouchy thing and they're standing there looking all cool and buff. Love it. Love it. And I don't care what anybody says. So that's my number 2 pick.
Cool.
All right, Colin.
Oh, it's me again already?
It's you again already. We're moving a clip.
Right. Wait,
I won't let this one drag out for 4 hours. I usually try to do these sorts of streams in like within 2 hours.
Okay. Again, this is another one that's I know I've talked about before, but if I can get anyone interested in watching it, I don't know if it's anyone's cup of tea. Come on. Stupid internet's being all. There we
go. You're right. I agree with you on that, Sashi. There are still multiple films that I do really enjoy, but yeah.
Yeah, that's the only. Well, I mean, yeah. Besides Jesse Eisenberg, because my thing is, I'm fine if you want to kind of like reinterpret to an extent, you know, how you want to do Lex Luthor. That's fine. But I just feel like the whole film is so grounded and serious, and you have this character that is not keeping up with that tone. Like he just felt like he was from something completely different. So that was kind of my main thing. But I will say, just it kind of felt like they were like, even because they had all the hints at the at like Cyborg and Aquaman and all that too, right?
Yes, remember they were looking at the files.
Yeah, the files, and it was like, okay, like we trust that you like if you're gonna do this. It just felt like they were trying to introduce so many things at once. So I would have preferred that they just focused on the thing, like the core parts of the stories. There was, I think,
agreed.
I won't say fluff, but I'm just saying like there are things they probably could have just focused in more on.
Yeah, there's certainly stuff that they could have done better. But oh well, yeah, I'm happy.
Bright spots are definitely bright.
Oh, for sure, absolutely. Okay.
What is Koyaanisqatsi.
Oh, okay. I was like, what is this?
Yeah, I was.
I know I've talked about it before, but it's one I feel like it's really not well known. And we lost D. Oh no.
Oh no, I'm here. Sorry.
Sometimes he pops his avatar up, like maybe he's got to move away from the camera or something.
So Koyaanisqatsi is just like, it's maybe a more like, it's depressing in a way, but it's also kind of awesome. And I've talked about it before. I think I give it so many points for originality. It's really unlike so many things I've seen. It's a documentary. And it has no narration or dialogue. It's got music by Philip Glass, and it's this almost kind of like minimalist electronic kind of depressing, like melancholic music, and it's just images of the world. And it's called Koyaanisqatsi, is like a Hopi Indian or some Indian tribe, and it means life out of balance. That's what Koyaanisqatsi means, life out of balance, or crazy life. And this movie to me is really like it speaks to how I always feel like this is a crazy world we live in, this time of all time. Every year is crazier, and it's always been that way. And it like I always feel that way, and I forget that other people don't always feel that way. But like this is a movie that I feel like captures that feeling of like we are in a crazy time, and the way it kind of shows you images and the sequence of the images and what it's showing you from nature to humans' imprint on the world, like buildings and stuff we've like stuff we've left. I don't know, like power lines and shit, but also like just also it's got what is that? Time lapse, lots of cool time lapse footage, people and cities, and just some crazy shit. And it's showing you how crazy this world is and what a crazy life is. We're in the future. And it did it in it's 1982 this came out. So it was before I was born. And it's one of those movies that I feel like it's not like a perfect movie or whatever, but I wish there was just more movies like this, like no narration, no like dialogue, just images and music. And it's showing you, it's making its point with images really, and the music's kind of helping set the tone. And it's so cool. And there's only a couple movies I've seen like this, which was actually the follow-up by the director and then the cinematographer, who they both are the Godfrey Reggio and Ron Frick. I think Godfrey actually made 2 follow-ups to this, and the cinematographer made a movie. And is it Samsara or Baraka? Something. I think it's Samsara or something. Ron Frick made a movie that's probably the next best. But those are actually more peaceful. If you want something a little less depressing, and it's more just shots of nature and human civilization presented in a way with the music and the images that's a little less depressing than Koyaanisqatsi. But Koyaanisqatsi really speaks to like the current world we're living in, even from the 80s, even from before the 80s. But like, so yeah, and it's a movie that I feel like no one knows about. And it's not, I mean, I feel like that's probably because most people aren't looking for this kind of movie, like a documentary with no narration or words. But it's a really
it sounds unique for sure.
It's very interesting.
Yeah.
I do remember you talking about it now.
Yeah. And so this is my shout out for that movie. I love it. I would put it in definitely top 10. And it's one of those things because it's so original. Like I wish there was like a dozen of these movies every year coming out, and this wouldn't be in the top 10. Well, maybe it would, but if this was a whole kind of thing people were constantly doing, I might not like this movie as much. But because it's like the only movie like it, it makes it so much better. Like if I could make movies, I would look to do like kind of a modern version of this film. It would be on the top of my list. So it's really it's a big movie for me. But it's also, I understand that most people that are looking for more like it's entertainment in the film, which generally is what I'm looking for, is entertainment, kind of simpler stuff. It's not really that necessarily. It's a little more of a philosophical thinking movie, which occasionally I'm in the mood for, and this one just works. So
cool.
That's all I'll say. Koyaanisqatsi, crazy life.
Do you feel like this is more from your perspective, probably like an underappreciated or underrated, like not enough people know about it. Does it have pretty high critical reviews?
I think from what I understand, it is well regarded by people who know about it.
Okay.
But as far as I know, I've rarely seen it. I don't know that it's well known. I don't really know, but I don't think this movie is very well.
Yeah, probably not. I've certainly never heard of it. I don't know that D has heard of it either.
It's probably a movie that most people, even if they saw it, they would be like, nah, screw that. They're not going to tell someone about it. Because I said, it's so weird and different. But for my particular taste, there's a certain moods I'm in where I'm in a contemplative mood. And this is like no other movie in that. And it's like, it's kind of dark, but it's also kind of beautiful. Like there's shots that are just like a camera's right above just an airplane, or maybe it's in a fighter jet even. And it's just like, look at this plane flying. If that's the whole point of the shot, is like, isn't the holy fucking shit? A plane is flying. And then there's just shot, humans in and out of cities and the skyscrapers, like abandoned skyscrapers. And the music is kind of, it's really crazy. Yeah.
All right. That's a good pick. Awesome. D, your turn.
Okay.
I like your shirt, by the way.
I meant to
brings back memories. Your shirt, like Blockbuster.
Yeah.
And it matches your hat in the background too.
Yeah.
That's right.
All right.
Oh, okay. Birds of Prey. All right.
Yes. So I was surprised. This one got dragged a lot.
Yeah, I never saw it.
Yeah, and
Me
so I
neither.
think, huh?
I never saw it either. I thought it was pretty new, but it's been out 4 years already.
Yeah, it's been a little bit.
One of the early 2020 releases I got to see, but yeah, like this, I think so. I think there are a couple of things. I don't know if this is the case or not, because I do know with some films when you have like an all-female cast, sometimes you can tell where they're trying to lean into that you can tell they're trying to maybe lean into something that feels disingenuous or kind of, cheap. The things that a lot of people discuss or have issues with when it comes to that. However, I didn't really get that from this film, whereas I can see with other film, like maybe other films that have tried to do something like that when it comes to the all-female cast. But I will say this: I will say that I didn't like that when given the choice between this or Gotham City Sirens, that it was purposely turned down, because that's Poison Ivy and Catwoman. So I'm just like, clearly I want this to see that. If nothing else. But I think that this is one of those that got dragged because people, I guess, are familiar with the comics and they expect certain interpretations of the characters. But if you don't have the experience or you don't have the awareness of that, then all you can, just like with a lot of the Marvel, yeah, like plenty of people who have watched Marvel films that don't know anything about like the actual source material. So it's like, oh, well, I mean, as is, this is pretty fun.
Yeah.
But that's what I thought about this. I think and you know what? That's the other thing. As someone who really did not care for Suicide Squad, I actually thought I enjoyed this significantly more.
More than that. You're talking about the first one?
Yeah, the first one.
Yeah.
Because, and actually I didn't want to see this because of that. I was like, oh Lord. Like they're like, that just was not what I thought it was going to be. But this, to me, it was R-rated and it was in your face, but it was quirky and it was funny. And I just think in the same way, not quite in the same way, but almost in the same way that Deadpool and Wolverine has all these crazy chaotic elements and tone and the raunchiness and all that kind of stuff. More so the violence than raunchy. It's not really a raunchy movie, but I think it is, all those things work. And I think if nothing else, it just works as it definitely just works as a spinoff of Suicide Squad. I'm glad also that we got the Suicide Squad, because that also helped kind of wash the taste out of my mouth. But
that movie was so good.
Yeah, but I don't think this one. I think this one unfortunately kind of fell into a weird place, especially when DC was still developing their films.
I'm assuming you have heard the talk of, people wanting the Ayer cut to be released.
That's which is always said. I'm kind of like, I mean, I'm not against it, but it's always, well, you know what? Let me just say this. One thing I think, and I think the Snyder cut has definitely taught people, I think people do need to at least see how much studio interference can really ruin a lot of films. So I think if nothing else, I'm glad that that's becoming a conversation, because I think some people look at a film and they think this is the director's vision through and through, and how could you do this? And it's like, no. There's a lot of behind the scenes stuff. So,
yep. Definitely. Yep. Snyder cut proved that. I've heard Rebel Moon, the director's cut that's come out of that, part 1 and 2, have kind of been the same sort of thing. And so I started watching the first Rebel Moon, and now I just got a few minutes into it. And I think I'm just going to avoid that and go straight to the director's cut version.
Okay.
So we all do that.
Yeah. But I would love to see the Ayer cut. I've never seen this. I think I just got a vibe from it that I felt like I would not enjoy it. I felt like it was going to be girl powery and anti-male, and so I just was like, it's okay, I'll pass. But so you didn't get the feeling that it was like that?
Not from I probably have to go back and rewatch it. But I didn't get that. Like, from what I remember, I didn't really get that. It just so happened they were pulling from a lot of the characters with the whole Birds of Prey thing that that factor into the story, because Black Mask is still a significant part of the story. Ewan McGregor, and there are other male characters in it. I just have to rewatch to say for sure, but I know what you mean. That's what I was kind of getting at. I don't think it had that same vibe, so I don't know
that level.
Yeah, I don't know if people were just going off the fact that it was just more so many women and it felt girl power-ish. But compared to some of these other films, I don't think it didn't feel like it had that vibe to me.
Yeah, that was kind of the perception I had about Black Widow too. That it wasn't really the way it was being painted.
Right,
it didn't come across that way to me.
Yeah, and I don't know if it's like a marketing thing or what, but yeah.
Marketing doesn't, sometimes marketing, it just really misses the mark, and it can just have a significant effect on what people think about a film.
I never thought of that. Marketing is trying to hit the mark. The marketing. The mark.
It doesn't hit the mark sometimes.
Right. Weren't you the one? Oh, I can't remember what film that was. But remember, I made that joke to you about I came up with that tagline, "Possess the patriarchy." It was whatever film.
Was it The First Omen?
No, it was like a couple of years back. I wish I could tell you which one.
Oh gosh, I don't remember now.
But I remember you were like, oh, this. I think you had said something to me about basically the film had nothing to do with that, but then the marketing material had stuff like that on there. You were like, but huh?
Oh yes, it was
yeah, I just can't remember
the nun movie.
Yeah, it was a nun.
It was
not the nun, but it was another one. Yeah,
she was an exorcist. I know what you're talking about. The way they marketed that was terrible.
Yeah,
because it wasn't like that.
Right. And I remember I literally could see your thing on Twitter. You were just like, why are y'all doing this?
Yeah, I know. It was so stupid. I hated that so much because it was really, and of course, it made people angry. I would get angry. That ad annoyed me. I'd seen the movie, but that ad still annoyed me. So poor Colin. I don't know what's going on with his internet, but he got kicked off. He tried to join again, and I don't know. Maybe he'll keep trying.
As we have learned, technology will turn on you whenever it can.
Of course, I know. Yeah, you had an experience with that not long ago yourself.
Exactly.
Okay, well, I'll keep my eye out for you, Colin, if you pop back in.
Okay.
Okay, so the next one, I have so many, but I feel like what I need to do is look at what the ratings were for it, the IMDb ratings. Okay, we'll try again. I'm gonna wait till his face shows up.
Okay. I had a question for you. Did you do, or do you have any on your list that are leaning more so into underrated and aren't as appreciated as they should be? Not quite.
Some of them maybe-ish. Like some of them have like there's one that I was going to show that has a pretty solid IMDb score. It's kind of a big blockbustery type movie, but I felt like it was underappreciated.
Right.
And then some of them are just, they have very not great scores. Like let's say 5.4. The one I think I'm getting ready to pull up has 5.4, which is, but it's also underrated because I don't think a lot of people know about it. Sorry, Colin. I don't know what's happening with your internet. Okay, so this next one, you may have never heard about it.
Okay.
And I only saw it in passing. It was playing like, I don't know, Pluto TV maybe or something. I can't remember. Maybe Shudder. I honestly don't recall. But I never forgot it. So let me pull it up. Share screen. Yeah. It's called The Monster, and it's this sort of combination horror story and human drama. And it's basically, the premise is there's this very troubled young mother, and she has her daughter in the car with her. A lot of the movie is told in flashbacks. Like they go back and forth between what's happening with the mother and daughter. They get broken down like in a scary area in the woods or whatever. And there's this monster. There's basically like this monster in the woods, and they can't escape it. or they're trapped in their car. So a lot of the movie takes place in this car or in this little street area where they are. But there's also a lot of flashbacks of the very tumultuous life that this little girl has had with her mother, because her mother's like an alcoholic. She has all sorts of issues. She has trouble, relating to her daughter, being a mother to her daughter. And so you just get a lot of, and yet the daughter, as young children do, they love their parents no matter how flawed they are. And it's heartbreaking.
Right.
And the mother, it's not that the mother, oh, thank you. Yes. It's not that the mother is like, and she doesn't have malice or evil intention. She's just really shitty at being a mother because of these problems that she has.
Right.
And through the course of the story, you see there's this bonding, this strengthening of the, love, maternal love, and between, what she feels for her daughter and the daughter's love for the mother and self-sacrifice and stuff like that goes on. And I felt like it was just kind of very symbolic of being a parent, and maybe even you're a terrible parent, but a lot of times even really bad parents still try their darndest to do the best they can for their kids, even though they stumble a lot along the way. And it was quite touching to me. Maybe, obviously not the bestest movie ever, but something about that relationship between the mother and daughter really, I don't know, it plucked at the heartstrings for me. You think you've heard of it? Yeah, okay. Yeah, it's just this little, not very long, maybe an hour and a half. And a lot of the scenes, the flashback scenes, are really sad and disturbing because it shows the mother just being like passed out drunk and just not, and then it jumps to where they are stuck in their car with this monstrous creature, threatening them. And you're like, wow, what's going to happen here? So it had me engaged the whole time. And I've always enjoyed it because of that messaging there and the relationship between them. So that's my number 3 pick.
All right.
All right. Poor Colin. I'm gonna see if he's tried to message us on Discord. No, I don't see anything on Discord. I don't know what the heck. Maybe there's storms there and his internet's down or something.
Well, seems like it has been storming in a lot of different places.
Oh, yeah. My gosh. I think we've had enough water here. Thank you very much.
Exactly.
Don't need any more. So we can move on to you since Colin is not around.
Okay. Cool.
Well, that's because not all of these are horror.
Oh.
And I know that your channel is mostly a horror channel.
Okay. Yes. Okay. Okay. Share screen. Okay.
All right. Oh, okay. Okay.
Yes. So here's the thing.
Here's the thing. All right. Tell me, Dean.
Here's the thing. Much like Batman and Robin, some things come down to how you are introduced to certain things.
Okay.
That makes no sense. I'm sorry. Some films and how you perceive certain films come down to how you are introduced to.
I got what you meant though.
but yeah, so with Alien versus Predator, I had always, at the time, this was like years ago, I want to say I might have been I think I was in high school at this point, but I had always heard about Predator. I knew a good bit about them both, but not a whole enough to know who they were.
You hadn't seen any of the movies?
Not at that point.
Okay.
So as far as this as an introduction, I actually thought it was really fun. I thought the whole setting of I think it might have been Alaska, and then the ice, and then they go underground, and there's this whole temple pyramid situation that's been sitting around buried in the ice. I kind of have this little thing for archaeology, so like anything that leans into like past eras, ancient temples, and then even the adventure, like Indiana Jones type
Yeah,
stuff.
let's get ready to say something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, it leans into that stuff. So I think just experiencing these characters for the first time, and still understanding that these two coming together was pretty significant, almost like Freddy versus Jason.
Right.
There was something really entertaining about that to me, and it was a really enjoyable. Yeah, a lot of it, but I also know why. Yeah, a lot of people didn't like it, but when I saw like both franchises, I understood why. Because I think the biggest issue, there are other issues, but I think the biggest issue is that PG-13, Alien versus Predator, like, yeah, no. Now I was helped by the fact that the cut I ended up buying, because I ended up buying it, I believe it was on Blu-ray. They have an R-rated cut of this.
Oh, I can't believe I guess I didn't realize it was PG-13. I think I saw it in passing.
Right.
But that's insane.
Yeah, and so I was just like, oh, this is I was like, oh, this is great.
Is so the R-rated version is even better than the theatrical cut?
I think so, because it at least gives it what you're used to when it comes to Alien and Predator. Like, you're used to seeing like the violence and the intensity and the gore and all that kind of stuff. And I do think for people who are familiar with those films and to that extent, it was just like, how are you going to go and sanitize this? Hopefully Colin can make it.
I know, I see the circle.
I know
he's not here yet.
Colin? But I do think it's. I will say also, if you've seen those, then this probably just feels kind of watered down and kind of silly. I also think and I think it was cool for me to see Sanaa Lathan as the lead in this. She's no Ripley, but it's kind of one of those things where you see an actress you've grown up watching in other films, and then to see them pop up as a lead in something like this, it was cool. But it did get real rewatching. It did get real cringe, like when we have like the Predator team up, and it's like, I'm going with you, and it's like, oh, okay, sure. But my favorite scene, I have to say, is when I think one of the Predators is about to attack the main character, and then all you see is this something swim, like they have the invisible camouflage. You see something snaking behind them, and then all you see is the green blood splattering. The camouflage disappears, and then all you see is this shot of the alien pulling the Predator towards its face, and them just staring at each other before he eviscerates it. That is such a great moment.
Did you watch this on the big screen then?
I want to see that was in the era before I went to the movies consistently. So I want to say possibly. I think so. That was a murky time, because like I said, like now I go like all the time. Back then I'm like trying to remember, and then sometimes if my friends went, I would be able to go with them. But I want to say I did. I know I definitely. Oh Lord, I definitely.
When did it come out?
2004.
Oh, it's 20 years old. Are you kidding? Are you serious? It's that old.
It's that old.
Oh my goodness, I did not realize.
Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, and I completely forgot. And let's just say the entire film is bad. I do have to say that final shot of the film was like kind of mind blowing.
That was the one where like it looks like one particular one has won, but then in the end you realize, oh no, you didn't.
Yeah, because basically the Predator guy gets killed. She ends up they come take his body. She ends up figuring, okay, I gotta find some way to get out of Alaska and go home. And then all you see is then they lay him to rest, so to speak. And you just see his body laying. You see this massive window, and you can see space and all of that. And then it closes up. You think it's about to end, and all of a sudden you hear something cracking and crunching, and
coming out of the
burst out of his chest, but it has and it has the Predator. I was like, whoa, like.
So it was like the alien had mutated?
Yeah, because it basically implanted something into it. Because I think the way it happened, I think though it happened so fast that you didn't realize that it had done that. And it ends up getting killed. So it's like, okay, well, whatever. But no, it ends up birthing a predalien, so to speak.
Predalien. Oh my! Is that something you made up, or was that something that was?
I mean, I remember saying it, but then it became official, like in the next
Predalien.
they started calling it that.
That's funny. Okay, well, that's definitely. I do recall that that got a lot of hate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's not so great. From what I saw in passing, but I never really sat down and paid attention to it. It was one of those mini films that I just had playing while I was working, which means I don't really pay complete attention to it all the time. So, okay, well, that's
And I was gonna say, yeah, Terminator. Have we discussed Terminator Salvation?
I think we have, because obviously I've talked about Terminator a lot.
Right.
And did you see my message in Discord about
No, I gotta get that.
Okay, I'll talk about it with you when the stream is done.
Okay.
Because something super exciting happened. Yeah, so Terminator Salvation, I've warmed to it a little bit more over the years. I liked it the first time I saw it. Then I'm like, and then I started obsessing over things like how in the world did John Connor survive? He has no anti-rejection meds, like stuff like that. It was just like, but I think it's good for what it is. I think part of the reason why it didn't settle completely well with me is because it takes place during the war with the machines. So obviously it's going to look and feel completely different.
Right.
But it's supposed to, it's not a fault of the film. I feel like Christian Bale could have been like something about his performance didn't quite land completely, which is weird because he's a great actor. And when I heard he was cast, I was super excited.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, why am I just not feeling this with his performance? But I don't outright like. I would rewatch Terminator Salvation before I'd rewatch Dark Fate.
I was gonna say, but that's the other thing that actually kind of ties into what I was gonna say, because actually, as many issues as people might have with this film, I feel like with films like Alien Resurrection and then The Predator, that R-rated one that came out in like 2017. I feel like the worst some of these get is like ones like this, even if they aren't great, they look a whole lot better.
Right. Yeah.
And same thing with the one you're talking about, because
Yep, exactly. Okay, let's see. Predator, yeah, Predator is cool. I love the design of the Predator. I mean, just the helmet and the cool weaponry and like the looks like dreads. It's like it's just so cool. One of the coolest villain designs, right on up there with like Darth Vader.
Yeah, right.
On 24 and Jack, but he doesn't have time for what? I must have missed something in the conversations.
Oh, I think that might have been in reference to, because I think it was some scene.
The scene, something about flirting.
Flirting, yeah. So.
Oh, okay. Okay. Let's see. Yeah. Well, I mean, that part didn't bother me too much. Xenomorphs take up character. Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
Oh, yeah. I was gonna say that. That's what it was. When you mentioned Terminator Salvation, I was like, I actually didn't realize that these they weren't side characters, but I just figured John Connor, Christian Bale, that would be the more compelling aspect of the story. And to me, it was that duo that ended up being way more interesting.
It was a focus on Kyle Reese and that guy played by Sam Worthington. I don't even remember his character's name.
Right.
But yeah, that was Anton Yelchin. I think that might have been the first time I ever noticed him, because I can't remember if this came out before or after Star Trek.
Right. Oh,
same year.
Same year?
2009.
Okay, I was going to say, because I just remembered when Star Trek came out. I knew it was 2009.
Yeah, but I like I said, I don't recall what order it came out. No, okay, yeah. Okay, so that was your what? That was your number 4. If Colin gets back on here, we'll have him run through multiple ones. But I don't know. He said he would try to restart his computer. I don't know what's going on with his situation. Hopefully, he can get back on. Okay, so that was your number 4. So my number 4. I'm trying to pick some obscure or ones that not everybody. I mean, obviously there's some recent ones. There's some ones I've talked about multiple times. I'm trying to avoid ones I've talked about multiple times because I already talked about 2 of those. So okay, I'll go with this next one.
Yep.
All right. Present, share screen. So, have you ever seen this?
I have not.
Okay.
Like the cast sounds great.
Yeah. It's got. I had forgotten. Oh, Tommy Lee Jones. That's interesting because that ties in with something I want to talk about with you when the stream is done. Time Cop is a good one. Putin's Cat. I enjoy Time Cop. If this was going to be an exhaustive list, I probably would have included that movie as well. So Criminal. I saw it once, and I really, really liked it. And I think we even had it. Oh, is he? Oh, he's back.
It worked.
Oh, yay!
Restarted the computer. That's all. Okay.
So D just had his number 4. This is my number 4. So you missed out on how many had you shared? 3?
3 and 4. Both of you guys, the last 2. What was the last 2?
How many had you shared? You shared
3.
3. So you've got So you got a number 4 to share. Okay, so you're not too far behind. So Criminal. The premise is Ryan Reynolds is Gal Gadot's husband in here, and I don't recall like what he is, what he does, but anyway, something happens, and like his body dies, and they put his mind in the mind of Kevin Costner, who is a criminal.
Wow.
And so he's walking around, like knows his wife, knows it, but I think there's also, I can't remember if there's still remnants of the original Kevin Costner character that kind of are still come to the surface, but it's just this, it's just an interesting, it was an interesting premise. And I watched it because it had Gal and had Ryan and had Kat, I was like, okay, what's this? And the more I'm watching, I was like, well, I actually really, really like this. I know his name isn't even on it, but because he's not in there a huge amount.
That's what
because
I figured.
He dies, at the beginning. But obviously when Kevin Costner encounters Gal, she has no idea who the hell this guy is, but he's like, this is my wife, and I just thought it was an interesting situation. I think there have been other movies similar to this where someone's brain or consciousness gets put inside the body of someone else, and so all of the interesting conflicts and scenarios that come about as a result of that. But I thought this one was really good. I always liked this movie. I liked it so much that I'm pretty sure that I asked my brother if we could add it to our digital collection on Vudu. We have hundreds of movies that we share on Vudu, and this is one of the ones that right after I saw it, I was like, I would like to add this to our collection. So I would like to sit down and watch it again, like maybe with Arturo, someone who hasn't seen it yet. I don't know. It's not. I can recognize that it's not peak. It's not peak cinema, but there was something about it that really drew me to it, and I liked how things played out.
I just checked if it was on streaming, but nothing I have. But I've never even heard of it, but I like the cast a lot.
Yeah, it kind of flew under the radar. I remember ish when it came out, but I don't think it lasted very long on the big screen. And so then when it showed up, somehow I was able to watch it digitally. I can't recall what platform it was. I loved it. So I want to see it again. I maybe actually to do a review about it, an actual review. So that's my number 4.
What was D? What was your number 4?
Alien versus Predator.
Yes,
you forgot.
Because I guess now that once we move on, I start focusing in
on the next one. Yeah.
The one from they're in Colorado.
Was it Colorado, or he mentioned
the mountains?
Oh no, the one where it's the one where they're in Alaska and they go underneath the ice.
Okay, I like that one. I like the one that was in Under the Ice. I didn't like the one that was in Colorado or wherever.
That was horrible.
That was the one from 2017, right?
Oh,
or
that one was bad too, but no, it was like a sequel to this one. It was called Requiem.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, this.
You guys looking forward to Romulus?
This one was pretty cool.
I am.
I got my ticket as soon as it went on sale.
Same.
Oh, for the new Alien?
Yes.
When does it come out?
Like imminently. Hold on, let me see.
It's like this month.
Yeah, in just like a couple weeks. There's something I'm going to go see this week. I forgot what it was already.
My Regal Unlimited pass expires at like halfway through the month. Like it might be like the 20th.
Gonna go see Borderlands.
It's probably like the weekend that comes out might be the last.
The 15th.
That might be the last weekend I have it. So I might go see Alien.
Comes out on the 15th. Yeah, Thursday.
Okay, I'm ready.
Thursday 15th, and I'm Borderlands, and then I also bought my ticket for Beetlejuice.
Same. Okay, so we're on the same page. So.
Right. I'm also eyeballing this movie with Channing Tatum. Looks like a horror-ish type. Blink Twice.
Interesting. Blink Twice. You know what the original name was?
What?
No, it was. I thought it was Don't Blink. Or wait, no, Blink Twice. No, it is Blink Twice, isn't it?
But what was the original name?
So the second word was island. The first word is another name for a cat.
Cat Island.
No, wait. Another name. Oh.
Pussy Island.
Really?
It was.
Really?
Yes.
Are you serious?
Wait, the movie? That was the working title for the movie?
That was the title. Wow. And then they were told, okay, that's, we need something a little bit more.
That does not inspire any sort of interest. Well, I mean, maybe for a certain demographic it would, but like if it's supposed to be sort of I don't know. Now I'm wondering about this movie.
Yeah, they were like, okay, we need something a little more marketable, so that's not gonna work.
Yeah, I agree with studio interference on that.
Right.
Yeah.
But it does look really interesting. I like kind of suspense thriller mystery type things. It's like you get on this island, it's like what's going on? I always love like those kind of stories.
Okay, so I had no clue it took place on an island. Mm-hmm. So I'm even more intrigued actually.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So, but they're showing the times, but every time I go to buy a ticket, I guess it's really not fully ready yet because it won't let me.
Oh,
so
okay.
I can't buy a ticket yet.
It's still processing. I guess.
Yes, they're still getting their act together.
Right.
Anyway. Okay, so Colin, your turn for number 4.
Wait, let me ask you though. I missed your guys' number 3s though. I want to know what your number 3s were.
I thought you were still around for number 3.
I think I went first and then I crashed.
Okay. So one of the ones I pulled up was the Monster. Well, hold on.
Yeah, that was it.
Yeah, it was called The Monster. Yeah, it was about this troubled mother and her young daughter who get stuck in their vehicle in the woods. And a lot of it.
Yeah.
There's a monster. There's a little monster out in the woods, and it goes back and forth doing flashbacks of their tumultuous, life together because the mother has all sorts of issues. Like she's got substance abuse issues and stuff. And so it's just, I thought it was sweet, a sweet, touching movie in the midst of this awfulness.
Yeah. I feel like I saw that and I was thinking maybe I was too high to remember it, but I need to now I want to watch it again because I remember that scene you're talking about for sure. Like I feel like I remember parts of the movie, but I want to go I think it's on Netflix maybe.
It could be. I haven't seen it in a bit. I've watched it at least twice, but I don't know where it is right now.
Yeah, like that was a good scene. I want to watch that movie now and see if I remember. But yeah,
it was sad and disturbing and sweet at the same time, touching. And it was just there was a lot about it that worked for me. I'm not sure Putin's cat. I don't know.
But Sin, what I was going to say is what I liked. I meant to say this earlier, but I forgot. But what I like about that is I like when there are layers, like you have complicated emotions. It's like, yes, this is disturbing. It's sad. It's good. But I'm also like, there's something poignant about this. It's like a certain place. And I love when films can do that, like kind of balance all those different things out.
I think that's why it worked for me. If their relationship had been a normal, stable, loving, sweet, perfect relationship, I don't think it would have I mean, obviously the situation would have been sad and troubling what was going on, you know, and trying to escape this monster, but I don't think it would have carried the same emotional weight to it that it did showing this backstory and this, you know, the troubles that the mother had and, you know, all these failures that she had as a mother, but yet she still loved her child.
Right.
And the child loved her, you know. So it's just, I don't know, it's just very touching. Okay, Colin. Yeah.
I was going to say, I just remembered my other one was Birds of Prey. I don't know.
Yes.
Oh, okay. I did hear that.
I think you were. Okay. Yeah.
All right, cool. All right. So my number 4. Oh, wait. Let me get the picture pulled up here. And I'm actually one reason this was the first movie I picked out. And again, it's not, I don't think it's underrated. It's underknown. And I think it's very highly regarded, but it's a foreign film. And it's one of my like all-time favorite movies, like maybe number 2 after Fury Road. So let me get the image. The reason I'm excited to talk about it now is because I just saw like a couple days ago that the director of this is producing a show on HBO where they're bringing this back. And it's a lot of the same cast, like the main character is back and a lot of the same cast. And it's going to be a show on HBO that starts later this month. And so I finally got the picture.
All right. Yes, Chris, I am. And I don't know anything about the game, so I'm going in totally blind. So I don't think I have any expectation.
Same.
Yeah. City of God. Yes. You've mentioned this. I remember.
It's one of my all-time favorite movies.
Like, I've always heard great things about this one.
Have you seen it, D? I forget if you talked about it.
I have, but I was a little too young, I think, to.
Oh.
And I kind of watched it, didn't watch it, watched it, and didn't watch it at the same time. So it's one of those I have to revisit in my, D movie man era.
I think you should. I think it's just so good, and again, I think it's a cool time to check this movie out because, like I said, a new show is coming out on HBO, and it looks like it takes place like this is based on real events, and it's shot almost like documentary style, even though it's kind of a fictionalized retelling of these real events. And then the movie or the show that's coming out takes place like 20 years later, which the movie's like the 70s, I think. So the show will be, I think, the 90s, in Rio de Janeiro, the slums. And it has like the main character at least is back and some of the others. And so it's still crime and everything. But
played by the same actor?
They got the same main actor and some of the other cast is back. And the director is producing it. And it looks like kind of similar style. So I'm real excited to watch that show on HBO starting this month. And then nobody dislikes it.
Right. This subject, like I had indicated at the very beginning, it's not necessary. Not all of these picks are like movies that are hated. Some of them are movies that are that we feel are underrated. In other words, like not a lot of people know about them. Kind of undiscovered gems. Yeah, that sort of thing. So it was a little bit of a broad category.
Yeah, because I don't always know. Cutthroat Island was a pick like that where I'm like, okay, I know everybody talking about hating this.
Most people were not, big fans of that.
I don't know if I could think of a whole lot of movies where I'm like, I probably could, but it would take me longer. I just wanted to. I know that this is a movie I feel like your average person wouldn't have known about, but they should watch it if you like. I mean, if you like crime, it's got a little bit of everything, but it really is. It's a little brutal at times because it's children doing crime. I mean, most of them are like teenagers, but it gets a little harsh sometimes. But it's really like it's just like life on the streets, and I think the realism of it is what it's really. It's really not like it doesn't feel like Hollywood at all. It doesn't feel like it's like
right.
So many movies feel patronizing to me. Like, especially the older I get, like I'm almost 40 now, and I just feel like I want to watch a movie that's not treating me like I'm a kid. And even though this movie's about kids, it treats me like I'm an adult. Like, and I just love this movie. And yeah, I always have. I remember when I first saw it, I was like 17. I was so excited, and it lived up to my mental hype. And it's never stopped. I've never stopped loving this movie. So definitely check it out if you haven't seen it. I don't know where to find it, but it is really highly regarded. I've seen it a lot on like top 50 all-time movies on critics list or whatever.
Definitely heard about it multiple times for sure. I've just never watched it. When you say it's almost like a documentary, I'm wondering if it's similar to that almost documentary feel that Sing Sing had, the movie Sing Sing.
Oh, right.
I'm just wondering.
I saw Sing Sing. I would have to see that.
Well, Sing Sing just came out like this past weekend. I don't think it's going to be in theaters a huge amount of time, but it's a fantastic movie. Cool. Highly recommend it. It has a very similar sort of documentary-ish style to it, even though, like, it's not, but it has that feel. Like it feels so authentic. It's basically a true story of these guys in this. It's called RTA program, Rehabilitation Through the Arts program at Sing Sing, where they put on plays and stuff.
Yes. I think I've briefly heard that.
Okay, and most of the actors in there, Colin, are playing themselves. Nice. They really had been incarcerated at Sing Sing, whatever. Coleman Domingo plays the main character. He was so good in there. So yeah, that's definitely one that I recommend.
Cool. Oh, that makes me actually think of, I might have to do a special shout out to one extra one. Because this movie reminded me of another one that's almost like documentary style, kind of a cool movie. So I won't for another time, maybe. This City of God's so much better than that. If anyone's gonna watch a movie, check out City of God.
Yeah. City of God. Yeah, I know you like it. You've talked about it multiple times. So.
Yeah, maybe this will have to be the last time.
It's okay. It's okay.
I've come up with some new movies.
All right. Well, okay. So when you remove it, what is this? Can you remove the picture? I want to see how we're laid out on the screen when that happens. Okay. All right. So I'll cycle back. We're a little out of order now, but I'll cycle back. So I'll be starting with number 5.
Okay.
And this, I guess, will be like our last round. So I'll go me, D, and then you.
Cool.
Okay. So this next one I have mentioned before. But I'm going to talk about it here. And I picked this one because it also has a low. This is one of those films that has a low-ish score as well. But for whatever reason, I really liked it. And it's a Gina Carano movie. I saw it a while back, and the premise is it's this couple. They go on their honeymoon, some Spanish-speaking location. I can't remember if it's like Mexico or one of the Caribbean. I can't remember, honestly, but just I remember there was Spanish speaking going on, and her husband goes missing, and she's trying to find out what happened to him. So a good portion of the film is her trying to find out what the heck happened to him. And one of the things that really impressed me about this movie and about her in general, Gina Carano's not top tier actor or anything like that, but those moments where she's looking for her husband, going around to the different, like the hospitals and the police station and just trying to talk to people, and she can't speak the language, and she's desperate. Like, I felt like her acting in those scenes was very, very good. And that's what actually really drew me in. I'm like, wow, I feel so sorry for her. Like, what's she going to find out? And her husband's going to be dead. And how is she going to navigate this foreign place that she's in and trying to figure out, and how can she know who to trust? And it ends up being like, kind of thriller action-y sort of stuff. And there's this big showdown that happens at the end, and she's showing off her fighting skills, because that is what she is. She's a fighter. But I always liked it. I watched it a second time. Didn't you see this with me, Arturo? Yeah. In the Blood? Yeah. And I enjoyed it as well the second time. I thought it was just it's just something I always appreciated. Like I said, it's not top tier movie making. It doesn't have the highest ratings. Maybe if any of you guys watch it, you know, you might feel like, this is meh. But I think the moment that really pulled me in and really made me like it was, like I said, those scenes where she's initially realizing something is terribly wrong and trying to find him. And her fear, like you can feel, you know, exactly that feeling that she must be having, or her character, you know. And so, yeah, I really like this. So,
was this your introduction to her?
No, I had seen her before in Haywire, and also The Mandalorian. I can't remember if I'd already seen The Mandalorian before or after this one, but I knew who she was. So it was not my introduction to her. She was also wasn't she in like The Expendables? Was she in The Expendables, or that was Ronda Rousey, maybe?
Yeah, I saw her for the first time in Deadpool.
Deadpool, that's right. I had seen her in Deadpool. I keep forgetting that she was in that, but yeah, she was in that.
Yeah.
But yeah, Haywire was her first film, and I did see that years back. I've seen Haywire at least twice now. But I really like this one, so wanted to bring it up, and that's my number 5.
Cool. I might have to get Tubi. I've looked at a couple movies and they say they're streaming on Tubi, which is free.
Tubi is a free app. I like Tubi. They have a lot of stuff on there.
I need to get that. If it's free, I've seen a couple movies you guys have talked about. It's not on Netflix or Hulu, but it's on Tubi.
Tubi, yeah, Tubi's cool. Hold on.
D number 5?
Yeah, it's D's turn.
All right. Sorry, I was getting my snack on.
It's okay. It's all right. I'm trying to just go through the comments here. It says the Andor series. Andor is slow, but I love it too. It worked for me completely. That's like probably right on up there for me as far as like the Star Wars shows. It does not feel like a Star Wars show. That's one of the reasons
I like it.
I really like it.
But what? I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
No, that's okay. What's that?
I like it, but I will say they could cut all the stuff with that Imperial guy and his mom, like the whiny Imperial officer that lives with his mom. Like, I don't understand why any of that's. I was watching one of those scenes, and
you don't understand why it's relevant.
This is Star Wars. I'm like, I'm watching a Star Wars right now, and it's just this dude in his mom's apartment. She's like, you need to get out, and he's like,
yeah, she was such a little dweeb, wasn't she? But it worked for me because I like that we didn't see any lightsabers or any Force action. I was completely fine with that.
I love Stellan Skarsgård's awesome.
Yeah, he was good.
I like seeing kind of the real world of some of the Star Wars stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, even in Star Wars, they're losers.
Yep. Yeah.
Okay. All right, D. Oh, okay.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah. I remember going to see this in Boston.
Oh, really?
With my brother Matt the night before they were leaving Boston to go to New Jersey.
Okay. Yep. So I chose this one because at the time I don't think I realized this was a remake.
You didn't? You never saw that one from the 80s?
Not at the time. And I don't know if I would have realized that I don't think I would have made the connection.
Okay.
But yeah, so I became aware of that after the fact. But I remember what I was excited for with this. One thing I have to say is that I am a huge Greek mythology fan. I've been reading Greek mythology since I was young, like since I was maybe like 7 or 8.
Yeah.
And so really because I actually just finished reading, what was it? I just finished reading Medusa's sisters and then Medea.
Okay.
And they were both really, really on point. So there are so many more I'm thinking about diving into, but I love those stories. And so, I was already familiar with Perseus, about, with Medusa in this version of the story. And so I think that's what excited me the most. I do think that probably because the 80s version, and I think it probably was technically filmed before that, but I think because that version is so beloved, I think this was already going to get slammed as a result of that. Yeah. And I think it's nothing that's necessarily spectacular, but I do think just as having that appreciation and knowing so many of these these characters within Greek mythology, it's just a really fun time to me. And I think it's fun. Like the Kraken,
release the Kraken.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, and I love seeing all of those characters and creatures and all that come to life. It was fun.
Yeah, it was. I remember that I enjoyed it. I thought it was decent. I wasn't super in love with it, but I remember that I'd seen the original one in school. They actually showed it to us in school. I was so happy because it was so much fun. It's obviously quite dated now, but it's still fun. I don't think I ever saw Wrath. Did you?
I did, and it was I appreciated it, but to me it didn't have that same, I don't know, something about the tone of this one worked more. I know a lot of people preferred Wrath, and I liked seeing again some of those creatures and things like that, but to me something about, and I think they did like some there were some continuity changes because some of the actors didn't come back and then other stuff. So so for me it was I still enjoyed it, but to me something about the vibe and the tone of Clash worked a little bit more. They kind of leaned into this more post-apocalyptic thing, you know, the gods are coming to an end, and to me that was a totally different vibe than what I got from this.
Okay, cool.
That's cool. I remember liking it, but I haven't watched it in so long. I feel
like
I wouldn't mind.
2011, right, when it came out?
2010
on the poster.
2010. Oh, 2010. Wow, that's ages ago.
I remember this being what you can see on the poster too, and that's what I remember. It was like right after Avatar, and it was Sam Worthington.
Oh yeah,
pretty sure it was 3D, maybe not, but I remember feeling like it was coming off of that hype, and that got me kind of excited too. But then I think it also lived in the shadow of Avatar for me, where I was like, yeah, it's pretty good. No Avatar, like I was still riding that Avatar.
Oh, I know you still love that Avatar. I like this more than Avatar, obviously. I know you love your Avatar.
Yeah.
Sin, you know you're ready for the third film.
Ash people. Avatar Ash people.
Yeah.
I can't with this whole thing. I'm just like, James Cameron, get back to making actual good stories.
And I'm like, why do we have to wait for Alita while you make all these other avatars? I'm angry.
Right?
I want to see Skyworld.
So do I. We need to see Edward Norton. We need to see the fight between Edward Norton and Alita. That's what we need. It's so annoying. I remember feeling so let down at the end. I was like, oh, okay, now we're going to get ready to have the final battle, and she's going to go up there. And then it was over. I was like, what?
Yeah, I did not. You could not have told me that was the ending. Like,
Same. And Arturo was like, well, this is how the manga. Did you say it was like how the anime ended or the manga? Yeah, that's how the anime ends. So.
I miss Arturo. He's got to join us next time.
Yeah, he was initially going to, but they changed his work schedule. So he just recently got home. And so he's eating his supper while he's watching the Olympics.
Oh, right the Olympics now. Are sweet.
Yeah, they're doing shot put, ladies discus right now. Nice. So I'm a little distracted by like, okay, who's winning, who's running?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I just feel like they dangled the Sky World above us for so long. We never actually see any aspect of it. And I'm thinking this is finally it. And it's like, no. And not to say that I'm not interested in other parts of the story, but just the fact that I want to see. Like,
yeah, you had, like you said, you had this promise dangled in front of you the whole time, and I fully expected we were going to get a completion to that whole thing. Arturo, does the manga wrap up the story?
Yeah.
So they have the source material. It's not like they have to write anything new.
Yeah, I agree.
Okay, all right, rant over. Okay, good pick, D. All right, okay, we're at our last one. We've been clipping along pretty good.
All right, sweet. All right, my last one I came up with out during the chat too. I actually had a few, and I was none of them feel right, but you know what, people, this might upset some people. This might be cheating a little bit, but you know what, I don't care.
It's okay, it's all good.
Especially after the success of all these other movies this summer, like Deadpool and Twisters and Inside Out 2.
Oh no, D. I think D has a feeling.
Yeah. I was just like,
oh, okay.
I knew it.
This movie did not get the love. I was hoping every other movie would fail in solidarity with this movie. And I'll just be like, its movies are out now. No one like cares about movies. Because I don't understand.
Underperformed. Yeah.
I do not understand. And I didn't see any bad reviews or audience people hating it.
Yeah.
And I love it. Also, this image is funny. That's like I wanted that as my phone desk back wallpaper. I got my first smartphone ever. I was like, that's what I
you
want.
finally got a smartphone.
I got a smartphone. Yeah, a little Android. But so that's what I was like, I want that to be my image. I didn't know how to make that my wallpaper. So I just took a picture of it off my computer and made it my wallpaper.
Oh, okay.
I love it so much. And I think this movie was great. I mean, I don't think it was as good as Fury Road, but it's like, to me, it's comparing it to the best movie ever. I think it was still a movie I loved. I saw it. Fury Road did make a profit though, and Furiosa, I think, lost some money. But like, yeah, I think it's easily the second best Mad Max. The old Max movies are a little cheesy now in some ways. I think it's so good. And I saw it 3 times, and I wish I didn't think it left theaters real quick. Like, I would have seen it.
Yeah, it was a little surprising at how poorly it did. And I did hear that I had zero interest in it because I'm not super into Mad Max, and I didn't like Fury Roads, and I knew this was going to be very similar to that. But not because I didn't like the actors or it had nothing. I just was not drawn to the story. Yeah. But people that saw it generally liked it. So it surprised me that it did not perform very well. And I heard Chris Hemsworth was really good in here.
He was. It was my favorite Hemsworth role, and he stole the show. It's funny the way that Furiosa was the star of Mad Max. Like,
and he was the star of Furiosa?
Hemsworth was definitely the star of Furiosa.
Okay.
And it was just, oh man, it's so cool. I could go on and on about it. I think after seeing it a few times, and then it was free on YouTube for like a day, and I watched it on YouTube.
Oh, and someone posted it.
Yeah, from like one of those foreign sites, they do that.
Okay, yeah.
And then it's on Blu-ray a week from tomorrow. I'm just gonna buy the Blu-ray and watch it a bunch. But it's like my analysis of it in terms of what would actually make the movie better is it's presented in 5 chapters, like chapter 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, as it goes.
I heard, yeah.
Somewhat evenly. I don't know the actual time, but like, I think for me, and probably for a fair amount of people, the weakest chapters are 1 and 5. And I feel like traditionally in a movie, you want the opening and closing to be the strongest part of your movie.
You want to bookend the film with solid. Yeah. Yes.
And I feel like this Furiosa does the reverse. Like, I think when I rewatch it, when I have the capability to just, put it on, I think I'm going to start it at chapter 2 and then just end it at the end of chapter 4 most of the time. Chapter 1 and 5, they're fine. They're not bad. There's a lot of cool stuff that happens, but plot-wise and action-wise, they're the least compelling, I think, of the whole film. And I think if they were condensed into like just into the beginning and end of chapter, where it was a 3-parter, and those were just shortened into like little 5-minute sequences, it would move a lot faster. Maybe that would have helped it. I think that's my critique of why it could be better. I think because I think that's a rule. Maybe not a rule, but I think opening and closing your movie, you want to open big and close big with almost all entertainment presentations,
Yeah.
And Furiosa does this weird it's kind of a slow start and then a slow finish, which it leaves a weird feeling. But oh man, the middle has so much cool shit in it, and it's no Fury Road, but I would say there is at least the big action scene in this that they spent 70 days to film, like a 10-minute action scene.
Oh, you 70?
Yeah.
70 days.
Less than a minute a day. Like,
oh, what the heck?
And it's got all these flying people.
Wow.
Like,
those people flying on the cars, attached to the cars and flying. Oh my gosh, that was the thing that did it for me on Fury. I was like, oh, I can't with
Yeah, and so it's in this one they're actually like on gliders, you know, like
oh my
gliders
gosh.
go to motorcycles, so they're like gliding above the truck and throwing grenades down. But like, yeah, that probably hurt it too. But I still think like that one scene alone is maybe better than any action scene in Fury Road in terms of pure action. Although Fury Road is so awesome, I can't. It lives up to Fury. That action scene lives up to the greatest action of all. It's really good. And yeah, Hemsworth steals the scene. I love all the weird little side characters and Immortan Joe and Furiosa. Anna Taylor-Joy, she nails it. But she's really like her character. Anya's version of Furiosa shows up an hour into the movie.
I heard.
And barely talks.
Yeah.
And it's fine. I don't think it hurts it. But it's really Hemsworth is the star in terms of dialogue and stuff. Her story is so simple. Everyone knows it. You know where it's going. That's not the point. The point is like, look at all this cool shit. Like Hemsworth is crazy. So
yeah, I got a kick out of what it showed of him in the trailers, just the way he was talking.
Yes, he's fun. He's a fun villain. He really is.
Yeah, he looked like he was chewing it up. Like he really enjoyed it.
Yeah, and it's worth watching just for Dementis and the amazing action. You know, it's not the story. The story is real simple. It's the setting and the action and the characters. So I love it. Wait, D, I thought you liked Fury Road, D, but did you want to see Furiosa?
I did enjoy Fury Road, and yes, I did go see Furiosa.
You didn't it?
I don't think he.
What did you not like about it?
It's okay, D. Share. It's all right.
I'm glad you saw it.
Huh?
I'm glad you saw it.
Okay. Yeah, I will say that as well. For me, there was a different kind of I don't know. There was a different kind of tone and vibe, and I understand how it was meant to tie into Fury Road, but it just didn't quite click with me the way I thought it did. And maybe it's just because Fury Road for me was something I wasn't expecting. But you know, with Furiosa there, I think just my expectation, what I would have thought of that it just didn't quite live up to what I was hoping for. But I definitely appreciate the scale and and just the care in which those films are made, though, because I do appreciate that.
Yeah. Well,
I'm glad you enjoyed it, Colin, that it was, an experience that was positive for you, because I know how much you do like Fury Road.
I was so hyped. I feel like I did. Well, I was hoping it would be better. I'll admit, I was hoping all 5 chapters were absolutely the best ever. But I do think, it was a little slower film without as much action. And like I said, I think the 1st and 5th chapter could have been condensed and it would have helped the movie. If you ever give it another try, D, start at chapter 2.
Okay.
And just watch it for him.
2 through 4, and then that's it, right?
2 through 4.
2 through 4.
The ending kind of drags. The ending, you kind of know where it's going, and it kind of drags on, and there's not much action. But 2 through 4 is great. It's the action and Hemsworth and the setting. It's almost like the more I watch it, the more I like it, because the first time I am kind of trying to figure out what it all is going on in a way. It takes place over years, and I feel like they skip lots of stuff. I would have appreciated some more character building scenes and stuff, but like chapter 1 and 5 could have been used better in that way. But still, I enjoy it a lot. I'm looking forward to owning it and watching it some more. So that was I was like, only because it bombed.
I don't think you were cheating at all with that pick. It's applicable.
Good.
So I think it fits.
Good.
So, okay. All right. Well, that's good. We wound up right around the 2-hour mark. So I'm happy.
I can't believe my computer crashed like immediately as I made the terrible joke.
What was it you said? Because I forgot what you said.
It's gonna crash again. No, you said the marketing.
The marketing. Yeah.
And I was like, you guys, and it was just silence, and then just.
Oh, you thought we were ignoring you?
No. It was just like it wasn't an immediate laugh, and I was like, you guys get it, the marketing and the it was burp, and I was like,
I got it, and you were gone.
And that was funny.
Okay. Well, that's all right. I'm glad you were able to come back.
I'm glad you came 2D, and
yeah, me too. I was so happy.
Furiosa. I'm sorry you didn't like Furiosa, but I'm glad you did see it.
Yeah, I appreciate it.
Your joke crashed your computer.
Yeah, my joke did crash my computer. That's what it felt like.
Okay, only because I don't want to mess with it, Colin. Can you unshare and bring us back to normal?
Yeah.
No, it's okay.
Yeah.
Because I was just going to do a wrap up. Because I don't want it to go on too long. I do have audiobook work to get back to, but I wanted to share something kind of cool with you guys off screen whenever this is over. Joke was so bad. The computer.
Oh.
I was embarrassed.
Longlegs.
No.
Wow, that actually surprises me. I was not happy with Longlegs.
I think Furiosa is gonna get a renaissance on streaming. I think that when
probably I could see that happening. Yeah,
a lot more people think this is actually cool. Like, it's not. I don't think it's a bad movie. There's enough cool stuff in it to make it entertaining.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, Sin, Longlegs isn't going to end up on your top 10 of the year?
No, absolutely not. I think I might have already put it on my list of. At least I can't remember if I've added it yet or not. But I've been keeping my list.
Your review actually stopped me from seeing that movie, so I'm kind of thankful for that.
Well,
because I was only going to see it because I have a free pass. So.
Well, see, that's the thing I love about the Regal Pass. The unlimited is so great. But if you ever watch it, obviously let me know, because there were some people that really loved it. And I was just like, what am I missing? And it's not working for me at all. Yeah, it just, and D, you pretty much had the same sentiments I did. You just expressed them better. So but anyway, this was a fun stream. Thank you to everyone who showed up in the comments and participated. Thank you so much, D. Colin, so glad you were able to make it finally after a couple months being away. And next stream, I'll aim for the first part of September-ish, but I will just be coming back from Dragon Con, so I am not 100% sure how that will work out. But we'll keep everybody posted. So in the meantime, I'm going to go ahead and end the stream. And
bye, everyone.
Thank you again.
I enjoy the chat.